How many of you are in pain right now? Okay, okay, and then just kind of shout out what areas of your body. Lower back,
My left leg, shoulders.
Legs, shoulders,
Neck.
okay.
Neck, shoulders.
All right,
Ribs.
all right,
Hips and thighs.
hips and thighs, okay. And then anyone with a really serious injury, I just need to be aware of?
Like broken rib.
Or is it just kind of wear and tear kind of stuff?
Age.
Okay, so really good to hold that thought, because we're going to talk about that in a minute. We're going to talk about that actually pretty quick. So we don't believe in old age here. We believe in different use as you get older, and so usually what we call age, what doctors will call age, is actually we've started using our body differently. So there's a lot of hope in that, so hold that thought. All right, good. 2 more minutes? Okay, we will wait for them. Does anyone have a question before we begin? Use all of your time. All right. This is Trinity. She's our clinic coordinator at both our Moore Park and our Westlake location. And this is Luis. He's a therapist extraordinaire and a full-range therapist, so he'll be helping out. As you have questions, don't hesitate to just raise your hand. If you're struggling with something I have you start to do, just hold a hand up. One of them will run over and help. If they're not needed, they might disappear. But I wanted to make sure everyone had individual attention while we talk. I do a very interactive class, so if you thought you were just going to come and take a nap, might not be that comfortable. But hopefully you'll enjoy it and get a lot out of it. And let's see, what else do you need to know before we start? How many people think they have to be in pain as they get older? Feels like it, right?
I have a question.
Yes?
Are you able to eat or carrot right now?
You can do whatever you want, but the thing is, and this is good, we'll open with this. How many seconds do we have?
We're there.
We're there. So you want to share with us your name?
Nick.
Nick. You may eat that anytime you want, but we call it in our class and with WholeFrog, we call it a big hairy carrot. So can you say that?
Can I please eat my big hairy carrot?
Awesome.
I don't understand what's so funny.
Yes, you may. So these are a big hairy carrot. Does anyone know why we might call it a big hairy carrot?
Because there's a bunch of things.
It does. It has hairs on there, but those are called roots, and those are actually good for you. So we really teach people how to eat a very high phytonutrient diet. In addition, what do you see at schools nowadays and in people's snack packs?
Oh,
yes.
carrots.
Little teeny, not big hairy carrots, right? So those little guys are all the skin is stripped off of them. They're perfectly formed and chlorine soaked to make sure that nothing spoils any too fast. So we do not promote those little guys because they're just not good for you. So you get all your phytonutrients from the skin. So big hairy carrots. Can we say it all together, please?
Big hairy carrots.
Awesome. So that's your nutrition lesson for today. Okay, so we'll get started and give you a little bit more of a context. At WholeFrog, we call it WholeFrog because we look at the whole picture, because you may come in with a knee or a hip or a thigh issue, but we evaluate you thoroughly as a nurse and as an engineer. You miss too many clues if you don't look at the whole picture, and we can't help you as deeply. So we help people get well on their musculoskeletal system and stay well and self-treat so they never have to have a joint replacement, they don't have to live in pain. And then we help people heal from the inside out, gut issues, diabetes free, get off of their medications, you name it, just bring it to us. If we can't help you, we'll tell you, but 99% of the time we can. And we work with your physicians and other practitioners from a wellness model. So as a nurse, I have medical knowledge, but our medical system as a sickness model. It identifies sickness and it treats sickness, very important, but not always the way it helps you actually get well and stay well and be empowered to be well. In addition, we address the mind and the emotions. because often when people are stuck in their body, they're stuck in some other area. There's something they're really wanting or not able to access, stressors in their life. We had someone this morning, you know, that was just, you know, pouring her heart out, and it's just, we live in a world that has stressors, and so if we just are here fixing a knee and not paying attention to all this, the tension in a body that's coming from another area, we're not serving you properly. So that's why we're called WholeFrog, and a whole bunch of other reasons that are fun, but that'll give you at least a context for today. Okay. So we're going to be addressing, your little kits are just your fun little kits that I want to introduce you to what's in there. So first, this is really important. This is our $249 self-treatment program that today for the event is just $49. So if anyone's on a budget, this is like so valuable because you will never have to spend money at another place. You'll be able to learn and you'll have access to us in this way. So that's just there for you. It tells you how to get to it. We'll probably send you an email with a link in case you couldn't get there yourself to make it easy. There's never any pressure on WholeFrog to get anything. It's just we found this really serves our people. And let us know if there's anything you need. Don't be shy because we're professionally refilming it in the next 6 months. So if there's anything you're like, could you answer this? Could you do this? We will do it. And then there'll be an app after that. You'll get it for free when it comes out. So it's your resource for life. The other thing you're going to get is this piece of paper, and it's just a cheat sheet. It has the 10 fundamentals for excellent health for life. That it's a 10-week class, 20-hour class that I teach. So it's just like super skinny highlights. So if you want to take notes or if you want to remember a fact like how much water you should drink and why, it's there. I'm going to be teaching you how to move every joint through full range of motion so that you never grow old in that way and you don't have to suffer in pain and you'll be able to fix yourself. Those are all here, the little reminders that won't make sense right now, but hopefully by the time we're done they will. And then the center part is just a place where you can keep track of how much water you drink, whether you go to the gym or do other things. And then on the flip side is more the emotional, spiritual, meditative kind of stress relief things. And then there's a suggested way to eat on here for anyone in here that needs to normalize their weight. It's just kind of how the body works, and with enough flexibility that you can eat out and manage that very quickly. For people with weight to lose, they can come down like 0.4, half a pound a day just by eating super healthy and eating the right amounts of food. And then if you eat more than that and choose to, you'll know what's happening. It's not like, oh, why can't I ever lose weight? You'll know exactly how to do it. So it's there. All right. Any questions about that before I go on? All right. So your water. Number one, when people are in pain, they're in pain for a bunch of different reasons. But the most overlooked, by far, thing in any area of your health is water. So most of us know we need to drink our water, but like as a therapist, when I touch someone, I can tell how much water you're drinking. And I can tell by the amount of inflammation in your body. So we have things called fascia. It's a sausage skin around our muscles. It keeps all the fibers of a muscle together so they operate well. How many of you have ever tried to get skin off a chicken? Like, yeah, you've cooked it, okay? So you know that shiny layer? Once you get the skin off, it's like over the meat. That's the fascia, right? And it holds that together. And those shiny, slippery layers are supposed to slide on each other. But if you're not drinking enough water, guess what those do?
They dry up.
They do, and they stick. And so they stick to those fibers and create inflammation. And you think you need an anti-inflammatory, and a doctor will gladly give you one. But all you need is free water. All right? The same thing with headaches, water. The same thing with asthma, water. Digestion. Anyone in here with GERD? Gastro reflux? It's epidemic, and it's because we don't drink enough water. We have had no cases that we have not been able to get off their reflux medicine in a matter of a week or two. All they had to do was drink water and be off of it and get off the negative side effects of that med. That med was never supposed to be past 2 weeks, but people are on it for years and years, and it causes a lot of damage. All right? So, water, water, water. So thus you have a water bottle. It's a very teeny one. It is not how much you should be drinking, but it was how much we could carry up to the second floor. So basically how you do your water is you take your body weight in pounds. If you're from Europe and you're in kilograms, we'll have to convert for you. But just know the number in your head in pounds. Ready? And then round up just a little bit to make it easy math. Ready? And then divide by half. So if you're a 200-pound person, half of that is 100 ounces. If you're a 150-pound person, half of that is 75 ounces. If you're a little bitty teeny person, then you don't drink as much water. All right? Got it? Everyone got it? Anyone have problems with that? Okay.
Is that a day?
Per day.
75
And that's
ounces
minimum.
a day?
Minimum. Now who's my coffee drinkers in here? Okay, all right, who doesn't drink coffee but has something caffeinated? Okay, same. So for every little 8 ounce of caffeine, and my guess is you guys aren't drinking just this much of your coffee or your tea, for every 8 ounces, 12 ounces comes out. So you're getting dehydrated even more. So if you're gonna have caffeine, you need to have more water, so you're gonna add to that half. If you eat a lot of processed food or a lot of sugar, or you drink a lot of alcohol, or go out in the sun and sweat, you need to add. That's minimum for good health. Your body is 70 to 80% water. In your brain, all other places, so the cells need this stuff to work. Some people don't like to drink water because they don't like to pee, right? Fall in love with peeing clear and peeing a lot. Your body will get used to it if you're consistent. If you're consistent, everything will even out. Women who bloat, they don't want to drink a lot of water because they hold water at their period time or hormonally. The more water you drink, the less you'll hold.
What about nighttime though, when you kind of try not to drink too much water?
Yep, you don't have to, but so the best way, and it's on your sheet, is between 5 and 9 a.m. your gut is healing. Like your organs take turns all through the 24-hour process getting healed. So in that time, that's when you wake up usually. You drink your water, you have lemon lime with it, and you get as much as you can in, 24 to 36 ounces all at once before you eat. Then you're a third of the way there. And it'll heal your gut, it'll get your bowel going. Those of you who are constipated, it fixes a lot of that. So use your water. And then you stop after you have dinner. You just don't have as much, you're just sipping after that, and you'll be fine. You'll totally get good. Yeah. And for those of you who are training your bladder, like when you wake up at 3 in the morning, you feel like you've got to get up, just don't. Just suffer for just a little bit. You'll fall back asleep, and then it'll extend. And yeah, your body gets used to it, like having to wake up, and you can train it, just like a little kid, training them to sleep through the night. Okay? All right, so that's enough on that. I know you came about pain. The other thing you have in there is nuts and seeds. That is also on your suggested breakfast. It's just a way you can play with them. I just thought I'd give them to you. I put all the different kind of nuts and seeds that are healthy for me, and I keep them in my freezer to keep them fresh so the fats don't get rancid. And then I just have an apple every breakfast. So it's a fun way. So I just thought I'd share that with you. And the other food here, just to wrap up the food section, we call it the new fast food. So, you know when you get stuck and you just gotta stop somewhere to get something and you really don't want to eat the junk, but it kind of calls you and you're just starving and you don't have anything else. So if you learn to hard boil eggs every morning, every Sunday, or once a week, and just have them in your fridge, you always have them to grab. Now you might not even like eggs, but they're protein and they're essential fats and they're like a close to perfect food if you're not vegetarian, right? And then always have your big hairy carrot and a cucumber. I have that every lunch. It's a great toothbrush to have when you're out and you're in a hurry. So you're never left. You don't even have to refrigerate these guys during the day. So it's very easy to carry these with you. You can also carry nuts and seeds. And your water always with you. There's lots of other, in our class we teach how to fast, like pack your whole day and be out the door in 5 minutes. So just know it exists, but look at what your favorites are that can be your healthy fast food that keep you from having to eat junk and things that aren't so good for you. All right. Good. Now, this comes to here, the last food thing is, it's a challenge that we do at the clinic. It's called the Chocolate and Prune Challenge. So how many of you love chocolate? How many of you don't want to eat as much of it as you do because you have side effects from it? Okay. So this was my challenge with myself. I was pretty addicted to chocolate, and I didn't really even like dark chocolate at the time. So I worked my way up over a series of years, actually, darker and darker chocolate. This, to warn you, is baker's chocolate. This has no sugar in it. Most people will not enjoy it the first bite. The prunes, however, are your big, healthy, lots of nutrition and sugar. So you take a bite of the prune, a bite of the chocolate, a bite of the prune, chew it together, and it'll taste sweet. Will actually be good for you. These are easy to carry when you're stuck in seminars like this, or you're traveling and you don't know when you're going to get to food, and you don't want to carry a perishable fruit that, you know, these you can squish and they're still prunes. they're not bruised apples or bruised whatever, or juiced up strawberries that got stuck in your bag. So at this point, I pretty much only use cacao nibs, which now doesn't have the fat or the sugar. It just has the high phytonutrient superfood, and I put that in my breakfast recipe that is on the back of your thing. But I just challenge you to take the baker's chocolate and prune challenge and try to get away from the amount of sugar that people get from the chocolate, and then you can enjoy it and get all the nutrition benefits. All right, now we're getting to the nitty-gritty of our muscles. Any questions on food before I leave it? There's tons more to talk about, but
Do you have to refrigerate the nuts?
I do, because I don't want the oils in them to get rancid. So even though I use them up quickly,
Oh, all of the nuts?
I always keep my nuts in the freezer, actually.
Oh, all of them?
I do, personally, yeah.
Oh, and seeds.
Yeah, we kept all this stuff refrigerated till we brought it here.
Oh, wow. And seeds.
And seeds, yeah. Okay? Any
In
other questions?
Tupperware or Ziploc?
I do Ziploc just because it's easier and our freezer's interesting, so it's just. And when, we also have a shopping list at the clinic that's just the basics of what you always have in your house, so you can throw a meal together super cheap, super fast, anywhere, and then you're good to go. Anything else?
I had a question about
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Tap water is normally not that good, so where I live, we have a reverse osmosis
Yeah.
system, but I've read that water is slightly acidic, so is there a limit to how much of that can you drink a day?
Okay, so I'm gonna give you the quick answer on that. As a nurse, there is a very narrow window in your body of acidity that if you're not within that acidity, you die. So when you put anything in your body, whether it's acidic or not, the body very quickly converts it to where it needs to be, or you die. So a lot of the acid and alkaline and all that stuff is a little bit of hype. Now that being said, if you're constantly eating a very acidic diet, it's taxing your body. It's having to convert it, it's having to get it within that range. Hey Stormy, come on in. So Stormy's also a full-range therapist. She's been busy serving our community at Vacation Bible School, so I appreciate it. So she'll be helping out too. So the tap water, some tap water's okay. Some places it's good, some places it's not. Reverse osmosis takes everything out. So you can have reverse osmosis with nothing, it's very detoxifying water, or you can have one that adds minerals back in, and then you don't have to worry about mineral depletion. It's a short answer, but I can answer more. Yeah.
So I just read news maybe a couple of days ago, they found that the bottled water has a very high level of some
Yeah, and so, and in our area, the arsenic does show up. Knowing whether that hurts us or not, for instance, apple seeds have arsenic in them too, and a little bit is very high phytonutrient and good to throw into smoothies. When you get too much, it's too much. I can't speak to the levels because I haven't looked at the most recent one. The last water report I've seen was 2017, I believe.
So the question becomes, do you want to drink bottled water or tap water or osmosis reverse water? Which one's better?
So I'm a super not purist, so I drink tap sometimes. We have reverse osmosis under our sinks at the clinics. We have the kind that puts minerals back in, we have the kind that doesn't. It's mostly be aware of what your goal is and the effect it's having on your health. So if we're detoxifying, we'll use the one without minerals. If we're doing it every day, we'll use the one that adds minerals back in. I'm not worried. I mean, like, it depends. If I'm in a place where it has really bad runoff, like in C.M.T Valley, on the far end of C.M.T Valley, I don't put tap water there because of, nuclear waste. So, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Just don't be afraid to drink your water. That's the main thing. Yeah. All right. Ready to move on to your body? Everyone good? Okay. So if you have shoes on, you might want to take them off. You do not have to take them off. If you want to feel what we're talking about, you may want to. So this is your tennis ball. Your foundation is your feet. If your feet are not happy, then it works its way up your body. You can get behind your chairs or you can turn your chair around, but you want to be able to hold on to something so you're not tipping and worrying about whether you're going to fall over as we do this. This is your tennis ball to keep. So I mentioned fascia super briefly, but let me give you the answer to almost all the questions when we're dealing with the body. The answer is always, that was good, I just let you got it. The answer is always fascia, okay? So fascia, its job is to tighten down around what you do. So if you wear high heels, if you sit and you don't use your foot through full range of motion, it's gonna tighten down and support that. When stuff gets too tight, that's when you have pain. Fascia can pull up to 2,000 pounds per square inch of pressure. So some of you who have more intense pain, don't be terrified. First, see if releasing fascia fixes it, and you're going to be able to do that yourself. Okay. So first, you're going to stand on your heels. So everyone's learned roll ball on your foot, right? Well, rolling pretty much doesn't do a whole lot. Helps a little, but not a lot. So I want you to stand on your heels. So your toes down. You're under your foot's not out here. It's under your body. And look for pain. You're hunting for pain. Is there any pain in that heel? Yes. When you find the pain, hang out there. Don't be afraid of that. That's what we need to release. That's what we need to fix. That's what's creating the inflammation.
She's standing on the ball.
Now, that being said, I don't want you guys torturing yourselves. So you can back up, you can bend your knee, you can be more on one leg, you can adjust that pain to be a feel-good pain or a pain that you're okay with. And you should feel it after about 10 seconds, it should start to let go. So that's what I want you feeling for. Everyone feeling that? Where it kind of starts to soften? I see pursed lips over here, I'm a little worried. No torture, edge of pain, we're pushing the pain away. If it takes a couple days to get it gone, okay. But okay, so I'm going to teach you the slow way, but basically you're only going to be spending 30 seconds doing this at any time. All right, so everyone hit all four corners. Did you find it? So look, and you'll find sometimes it's more tender towards the inside. Some of you, if they walk differently, it's more on the outside, okay? Now you're going to go in the crack right between the heel and the rest of the foot. Start on the outside. It's usually tight out there, but not as bad as on the inside. Good, and stand on that. Feel it release. You can stand like this if you want your toes, and just bring your toes up and down. You want to explore that crack, and you don't want to leave anything there because, anyone heard of plantar fasciitis? Whoa.
What is that?
That was a lot of people, right? So we fixed that in one visit at the clinic. A lot of people suffer with that for 6 months to 2 years. And don't let anyone you know suffer that way, because we can show them how to fix themselves really quickly.
Can I just interject very quickly?
Sure.
I had it really badly to where I couldn't even put my feet on the floor without pressure in the morning. It burned like I was on fire. I started doing this in 2.5 days, gone.
Yeah. So
Do
you'll
it
use
first
it.
thing in the morning? Or
You could do it anytime,
You-
but
you can do it-
she had to get to work, so.
Yeah, so, yeah.
She do it at like 5:30 in the morning. I'm not saying you guys have to, but.
Nice. All right, so you explored that crack, everyone good? So the plantar fascia attaches below your big toe and goes down to this right here where your heel inserts. So if any of you with tenderness in here, That's why. And so you want to hold where it hurts and wiggle your toe back and forth slowly, slowly using the muscles. That'll help increase the pain, but you're gonna open it up faster, okay? Good. Once you're done with that, there's 3 arches. And by the way, this is all on here. You don't have to remember it. And on this site, it's all in living color on very short videos, so you'll always know how to do it. All right? So there's 3 arches. You always want to start with the outside arch and pry that out. So you're gonna be kind of on the ball so that the ball's pulling that bone out a little bit. Again, no torture, just open it up a little. You'll be able to open it more the next day, okay? And then open again until you're all the way up here. So I started down here and then I went 2 inches up or 1 inch up depending how big your feet are, and then got underneath that. Okay, you're on your pinky knuckle. And if you have bare feet, if you watch and let your toes relax for a minute, you can actually see the fascia spreading. You can see it opening up. And that's what you want to wait for. And you should feel like kind of like this start to happen. If you're really, really tight in your feet, you might not feel quite yet, but don't give up, seriously, because you go to do it tomorrow and it'll be like so much better, all right? Now go all the way across the knuckles. You can kind of roll if you want to, but just to the next inch or 2 and then press. Wiggle the toes up and down because we all need to strengthen the top part of our foot, and then go over to the big toe. So we did this arch, now we did this arch, and the 3rd arch, we're going to go down, and you want to be careful here because this is where people are mostly tender, and work your way down that center arch back to the heel. Okay, anyone need help? Anyone feeling like this sucks and you're all right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Once you get to the heel, you get the treat. You get to go straight up your straight up the other, right in the middle of the foot. And this should feel kind of good. Every once in a while, some of you might have a bone that's actually come down and is stuck, so that might hurt a little. If you have that, let us know. Anytime anything I teach you does not work, pick up the phone, send me a text, send me an email. We'll get to you because these things are diagnostic, meaning that if these don't work, then there may be an underlying issue that we need to address, and we can get you to that help quickly, okay? In my case, I'd had a stress fracture, or these would help, but I'd always kind of come back to one foot hurting. So we have a person who adjusts specifically. She went in there, she's a chiropractor, she just went, put the bone back in, and I was pain-free. So we have ways to help. Okay, got it? You can do the other foot while I'm talking to you next. So here's the principles. We've developed one move for every joint level that if you do before you get out of bed in the morning or very shortly after or during your work, you'll fix that area, you'll diagnose, you'll always know, you'll get rid of the fear of, is something wrong with me? You'll be able to move through full range of motion so the fascia doesn't hold you tight, and basically be able to be free to lift being free. And then for those of you who lift weights or do other really extraordinary things with your body, then you'll have the principles solid so you can add weights or go to that next level without injuring, no matter how old you are. And we work with people all the way up almost to 100. I'd say our oldest so far has been 100, and a 99-year-old, and a very active 95-year-old right now that's all gnarled and was all twisted down here. And she was in excruciating pain, didn't want to live anymore. And I was like, did anyone ever address your leg length difference? I mean, she was just sitting like this, and one knee was like this. And this was a community leader, a physical fitness instructor, teacher. And had somebody known and caught that, she would never have the scoliosis and all the issues she has. So we got her out of pain, and she's doing really good. She drives, she's independent, but she has to live with this gnarled up body, and that's just such a waste. So catch it early, catch it young. All right, good. That's that. Any questions?
How often you do this?
Pardon me?
How often you do this?
Once a day. Well, okay, on the ball. So this sheet tells you how to treat feet for plantar fasciitis. Some of you saw yoga toes down at our table. That's one area where you could just put them in and it holds the fascia for you if you don't want to do anything. You just could be watching television and it'll open you up. This is a way to manually get it fixed quickly when you're already in pain, or to check yourself. I do it like once a week. I don't have to do the ball every day. Some days I do it every day because I have time and I just feels good. I just have it by my bed. Balls are your friends. You can use them to release fascia other places. So I always have my balls by my bed. So when I'm talking to my husband before we go to bed, I just do this. If I'm in bed in the middle of the night, something's bothering me, I'll throw a ball here and let it be my massage therapist and go back to sleep so it's not bugging me. Yeah. What was your question? But the other ones, the full range, if you do them every day, just 1 30-second, so it's less than 5 minutes a day, you will keep yourself good and you won't have buildup.
Which one you do?
That's the online program that teaches you for every joint level. We'll do as many of them here as we can today. Okay. Yes.
Am I allowed to throw this up and catch it?
No.
Sure, you can do that.
No.
Cool.
As long as it helps you listen better.
Yeah, I'm kind of done.
Yeah, no, you're good. All right. So why does this work? Like, why can I pretty much guarantee you that I can fix anything? Like, does anyone have an elbow that's bugging them?
Yeah.
You want to be
I
a
my
guinea
phone too much.
You want to be a guinea pig?
Sure.
Okay.
I started using a CBD cream, but it, you know, it helped pacify it, but then it's
Yeah.
not as fast.
So CBD is cool because it'll get the inflammation down, right? But if it's a muscle issue, you still have to fix the muscle. So go ahead and have a seat. So this will apply to all of you. So if you want to sit for a minute, you can, because you're going to feel your own elbow, or you can grab your neighbor's elbow with permission if you want. So is it?
No.
It's not working.
You're so romantic.
All right. So muscles work in pairs, right? So and they go, usually where they're tight is right going into a joint. So they go from a joint to a joint and they connect. So this will be the same for a knee or anywhere that the muscle comes in. So for here, we're going to check here. She has muscles that come all the way up here from her fingers. Can you see that? They're coming all the way up from here. And so I'm going to check all along this strand, and usually down here it's not so bad. But those of you who are on computer a lot, this is a big one. And we see it. So feel that? That's just like killing her. And so I'm going to grab that muscle, pin it. What number? 0 to 10?
7.
Like a 7. Okay, so everyone have a spot on them? Yeah, anyone have a spot? Do you find yours? Kind of pin it right by the elbow. You're going to take it towards the joint so that you make more space for it. Are you ready? Still 7? Still 7? There. Now open your fingers wide. Open your fingers wide and you'll feel the muscle pop up under your hand. Feel it? Okay, good. So it starts, is it getting better yet?
No.
Not yet, still hurts really bad.
It's like a 5 now.
Oh, so it went down to a 5 already, just with her using her muscles. So the principle is hold where it hurts and get the muscles to move through full range of motion, and you literally fix the muscle. So now she didn't really do full range, she just went one direction, right? All her fingers open. Now we're gonna bring her up here. Ooh, now we popped into another layer, because remember, the reason this hurts so bad is she's got layer upon layer of fascia stuck to each other, right? So is it getting better now? I'm going in harder.
Yeah, you were.
So I'm going in harder as her body lets me in. I'm going deeper. What number are we at?
At a 5.
Okay,
yeah.
because I don't want to.
Started at 7, 8 again.
Yeah, I don't want to
and
take you
went
past a 7. You want to be at a 7 or whatever your tolerance is. Now she's going to do full range of motion with a twist. Does that feel better? Good. Now you're going to go the opposite way, which is going to be a little harder for you. I'm going to hold that and make sure it doesn't slide out. So can you imagine what's happening in there? The fascia stretching, the muscles stretching, they're starting to not be stuck to each other. Does that make sense? And then you can do full range. So she kind of, we all kind of lose our focus. And so we'll just kind of be there. But if she focuses for 10 seconds and really keeps the full range, that last quarter inch, we'll free it because that has, got it? Okay, good. Better?
Yes.
What number are we at?
like a 4.
So we're now to a 4, okay? Now we're going to come back, and I'm going to go in even deeper. Did it go all the way up?
I'll take that back again.
2?
To like a 7 again.
Okay.
6.
Yeah, so my thumb is killing right now because I'm in her so deep. but it's gonna release in a second. So go ahead and make a fist. So that popped the muscle up too. So she just stretched it up there. Oh, hi. This is Susan. She's also a therapist with us and also a registered nurse. All right, so now you're gonna knock and I'm gonna resist you. So go ahead and knock straight down. No, I'm sorry, slow knock, you're good. You did really slow knock. Slow down, it's really slow, all the way, all the way, all the way, all the way. Full range of motion, always go the whole way, okay? And then resist it all the way up. See how that's fixing it now?
Yeah,
So now you're like at a 2,
It's
right?
like at a 1.
Yeah, so that's how fast you can get rid of this kind of thing. And now twist in with the fist. So now you're powerful, you feel good, right? So in those of you who are doing weights, if you did this every day, which is what I would encourage you to do. There you go, sorry.
Okay, no, it
So you
feels
can
good.
see like the mark, right? I wasn't just babying her.
Yeah, no, it feels good.
Yeah, so lean forward a little bit and just put your forearm down on your thing. So if she had a water bottle or a weight, she would self-treat by making sure her wrist is straight, picking the weight that she can do easily, coming up with a little challenge, and do that 10 times, all the way down, come out so you can go all the way down. Yep, nice and slow. Always move slow with muscles because then they'll release. If you go fast, they're like, whoa, they gotta tighten up, right? Good, so you're just gonna do that 10 times, maybe once a week. And you can see her muscles shaking.
Yeah.
That's called weak and stuck. And so you get rid of all of that. And then you flip over and you can, and you do it so now she has full range. So now she's doing all of these. Got it? And when she's done with that, she's gonna put both elbows to her side, grab those weights, keep her wrist straight, twist out from the elbow. So now we're bringing it ourselves. Come out and squeeze, twist back in, and come in and squeeze. Got it?
Yeah, so you're using your forearm and.
Yep, so that it'll never get stuck again.
Great, thank you.
Does that make sense? The reason they get stuck when we're typing a lot is we're doing this little teeny motion, or we're doing a phone with our pinky up in the air. It keeps this overused here and never a full range of motion. I mean, how often do you actually do that, right?
Is that something that's good even if you don't really have issues there? Is that something that's good for just about everybody to do?
Entirely. That's why we developed it, because it keeps you always good no matter how old you are. So here's the next principle. So now you know you can hold Roy Hertz and move through full range of motion, right? And fix yourself anywhere. Like, even if you have a break, you can treat muscles. Even if you have a sprain, you can treat muscles this way, okay? So, second thing is, I call it the 2 sexy S's. So you know how I made him say big hairy carrot? Right? Was everyone hear that?
Yeah.
You didn't hear it. Okay, you gotta tell her the deal. This is what?
A big hairy carrot.
Okay, as opposed to the little
baby ones.
that are
Yeah,
chlorine
baby
soaked in the good nutrition strip.
That are in my friend's lunchbox.
There we go. All right.
My friend comes there
So, so here's the next one. So you can do this one. So this is the 2 sexy S's. 2 sexy S's. Can you guess what they are?
Super silly.
Super silly. That'd be good. Yeah. So what do? Like, everyone thinks if they're tight, what do they need to do?
Stretch.
Yeah. Now that's
Super
one of the
stretch.
sexy S's. So what do you think the other one might be?
Super.
Who said it? Good job. All right, so it's both stretch and strengthen. So did you notice what I did with her? Like, yes, we were stretching, but if she hadn't strengthened, that muscle wouldn't have poofed up. You wouldn't be on the muscles and off the joint. So this is the secret to not age. If you're on the joint, let's see. Can you picture in your mind a skeleton? It's hard, right? The bones are hard. There's joints in between. If you load that skeleton, eventually it's going to compress. Eventually it's going to start to have issues, right? The degenerative disc disease and all that kind of stuff. Does that make sense? Herniated disc. But if you are on the muscle system, you're like Gumby. Muscles go everywhere. All you have to do is strengthen them and they get good again. They're like hydrated, they're happy if you give them enough water. They can move anywhere. So the way, I didn't really tell you my story, but my spine looks like a spiral staircase inside. I was permanently disabled in my 30s. I couldn't like walk more like that. I couldn't go into stores, it was too far to walk. There was too much shearing action on my knees. I had meniscus tears with 2 severe knee injuries. And degenerative all the way through my spine. My doctors were like, it's too far, we need to rod your back. And I had extra cervical ribs here. I couldn't like push to open a door or push myself up because it felt like my wrist was broken, and it was just the nerve bundle here couldn't get there because this was so congested. So they wanted to do surgery and take these guys out too. I also had an accident at work. They wanted to do stuff to my hips and to my ankles and my foot, and I just always said no to the surgeries because I know that I can always do a surgery, but I can't always undo a bad surgery. Right? And I was an athlete. I wanted to have full range of motion. I didn't want to rod up my back. So, why did I start saying all that? What was the question?
You're stretching.
I just wanted you to understand that the way I got free, I was 2.5 years in misery. Like I couldn't, when they were little, I would go to the, we used to go camping. I would have to rent a whole thing. It's expensive to be in pain, right? Yeah. I had to rent something so I couldn't bend down. It was hard to sit in a car. I had to be helped down to the beach when they were little because I couldn't get down there and I couldn't walk along anything. And so my doctor said, don't move, your back's gonna disintegrate, right? And you'll never run again, was their thing. So I accidentally discovered my oldest son was little at the time, and he came up and threw sand at me because he was so frustrated that he'd lost his mom basically. Like I didn't play with him like I used to. And I decided I didn't care if it hurt, and I just chased him. And it hurt to chase him at the moment, but what I noticed was afterwards I felt better. So I'm like, oh, my doctors aren't right. There's something here. So that's when I started investigating and figured a whole bunch of things out. But the way I manage it now is just being on the muscles minimally. It's not hard to get there, but once you get there, you're pain-free. You're instantly out when your muscles are good enough. So you can go to our website and take the pain-free quiz. If you're in pain, it'll tell you which muscles are the issue. We can see your test results, so you can call for a free consultation if you need any help. And we can get you.
Do you
where are we at? Sorry, where are we at, Trent?
225.
Okay, go.
Do you advocate use of, for the muscles that are harder to get to, the foam roller to work on fascia release?
So there's lots of different ways. It depends on where it is in your body and how heavy or small or large you are. So I have some clients that are super teeny but really muscular, so a foam roller won't even dent them. So then they'll use like hard, like baseballs and stuff to get in there. Other people are super fragile and they don't have a lot of muscle, so I'd never ever use a hard ball. And I'd probably never use a foam roller either if they're small. So then we use a ball to get in there to help them do it. But if you do the full range, like for instance, I can tell if someone's doing our figure eights for the hip, because this whole tight thing that's always tight on people starts to loosen and do it just with doing that without having to foam roll. So my people who hate foam rolling and won't do it, or they have a bad shoulder, or they're older, don't want to get on the ground yet until they learn how we help them be able to get up and down on the ground easily, they will start just with our full range. You can do it if you're bedridden, and it makes a huge difference. Any other questions? Okay.
So the exercise you can do regardless your age. The exercise you teach, any age can do.
Any age can do.
And you mentioned, I think I read your profile, the scoliosis, that also might help. And I don't know how.
Oh, it maintains you, because like when I speak and I show my x-ray, the chiropractors are like, you shouldn't be standing. Like, even though you shouldn't be standing.
Right.
Like, yeah. And you actually improve your MRIs and your x-rays by having the muscles. So chiropractors were the first ones that gave me hope, but once I learned how to do the muscles, I didn't see a chiropractor for 15 years. It wasn't until I had an accident, a ski accident, that I just knew I needed a tweak, and so they tweaked me and brought me back. But it's, for those of you who use a chiropractor, you have to do the muscle work once they put you back. Otherwise, you're in there every week. They're saying your hip's always out, or this is always going on.
And it's expensive to go like 3 times a week.
It is, and you don't have to. Once they put you, use the muscles, use the full range to put you back, and you're good. And you can, if you have fascia that's so stuck, like some people have layer upon layer upon layer, doing the moves they can't even do it. Like literally, they can't rotate in because they're so stuck. So then that's when you have a therapist work with you and, you know,
And that was
every we do that too, yeah. But we're always teaching, like we want people to
be able to
do it. Yeah.
self-sufficient.
Yeah.
That's good.
So what do you do for broken bones, ribs?
Broken ribs, hey, I just had that situation.
Funny you should ask.
Funny you should ask.
I'm a comedian.
Yeah, so it's the same principle, right? If you break a rib or you just strain all the stuff around it and it's not actually broken, but you can be in a world of hurt just by landing weird and it doesn't break. Between every bone, there's muscles, right? So there's intercostal muscles between here. So I just did this recently. I was at a pool party and I jumped out of the pool and I pushed up and something gave way, but I landed here. And with my crooked spine, my ribs come anyway, so I hit it just right where it snapped and I was just like, and I just laid back in the water and I trigger pointed and I went through every muscle around that rib and I did not let go until I got everything to calm down. And then I started swimming and opening full range and holding it while I did at first, and then every day since then I've been doing that. So now I'm good, but
So you still have a broken rib?
yeah, I haven't actually got it x-rayed, but it was pretty dicey. So it may have just been soft tissue, but you can do that. Like I get a lot of clients that have broken their ribs, and so
Well, I
that's what we
have a
do.
broken rib.
We go, oh, nice.
I've
So-
had it since 1984.
But
They
it's
don't,
not
they don't
broken now.
heal, you have to stop breathing, and I was told. It could be screwed shut.
So cute, so cute.
That was what the doctor said, he
Right.
said, stop breathing for 6 weeks and it'll heal.
Yeah, it feels like that, right? So one of the people, we work with a lot of elite clients all over the world, and they're, one of the people, I met him initially, he was on stage, and I thought he had just done it, 'cause he was breathing like he just broken a rib, right? So I went up later, I said, I know you don't know me, but like I can help you. It turned out it had been a 15-year-old accident. He'd never had proper therapy. He had titanium ribs. Some of them were replaced. He had this gnarly, really bad, his whole collarbone, everything was all screwed up. And so he let me work on him, which to me was a miracle, but he walked in out of pain.
Wow.
So he'd been suffering all that time. He had nerve damage where he didn't have feeling in his toes. We used the yoga toes, put him in him that night and released all the fascia around there. He walked in with feeling in his feet for the first time. So that was pretty big, but we see that quite often. It doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes it happens slower, but it's pretty cool, and it's just how the body works.
So is that will help with some people has arthritis?
If they have arthritis, arthritis is kind of a catch-all name that doctors will say when you're hurting and they can't figure out why. So I don't even hear arthritis when someone tells me arthritis. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, but it kind of doesn't in a way. So there's three major kind of arthritises. One's osteoarthritis, and that's when muscles don't pull evenly. So this is why the full range. We help you get all the muscles pulling evenly. So here's how you check. You ready? Those of you with knee issues or any joint issues, like if it's your knee, you grab your muscles around your knee. If it's your hip, here's your hip bone down here. You grab the hip bone and you check all the muscles coming into it. So from here to here it comes, here to here, here to here, here to here, here to here, and you see which one hurts. If none hurt, your joint is good. Your muscles are pulling evenly. It's like paint by the numbers. Like God made it easy. Like if you have pain, that's the one that needs releasing. So all the muscles can go back in balance. Muscles work in pairs. If your bicep is being used, the tricep has to let go or you wouldn't be able to move. If your tricep you need to work on, you could go the opposite way. Does that make sense? To release the bicep? Yeah.
What is, if I feel clicking, what does that mean?
Clicking in the joint or clicking in the muscle?
Clicking in the muscle when I go up.
Okay, so that's a tendon head that's too tight. Muscles turn into tendons and they connect into the bone. When they're just like hard, there's no softness there, they're clicking over each other.
It's soft, but it's like they're clicking as I put my thumb over.
Yeah. So it's just a muscle that's not super happy. Like usually people's biceps are pretty soft and they're nice. Your muscle should feel soft, individuated, not stuck to stuff. And when you get hardnesses, it feels like hard leather, or it feels like a bone, or it's so tight, the cells are so tight that waste products can't get out, nutrients can't get in, so our lovely body sends a pain signal. And most people go, oh no, I just gotta take a pill, you know, or stop moving, instead of, let's fix it, get it moving again, and then no pain signal, kind of miraculous, yeah.
What about this?
Nice, how'd you do that?
I have no idea.
double
Turn that
joint.
way.
I know how.
So,
double jointed.
so what I could tell just by grabbing him, his fascia is super stuck all through here. Now, I don't know if I can fix this, because I don't know his history. That's why we take a very thorough history when someone comes in. But to open all this up, I don't know if you guys can see this, or there. We get in here, does that hurt? Are you okay?
Anything hurts. So it certainly hurts.
No, but does it hurt? I don't want to be overdoing
you're
you.
not.
I don't want to be assaulting
Most
you.
of my nerves are dead. So.
Most of your nerves are dead, nice. Not cool. So we would be opening all that fascia in there. So a lot of times we'll get older people with trigger finger, they're stuck here. Or we have one that their finger just stopped working and it was here, so we just went in there, figured all the fascia out, and then avoided the surgery for
Is
that.
that what they call Dupuytren's contracture?
Um,
My sister had surgery, and I was going, no.
Right, there's a lot of, so medical, again, is a sickness system, so they just have surgery or injections or pills, you know what I mean, like that's their thing. More and more doctors are getting more informed, and it's our goal to be able to speak at medical schools, so that people really know.
To do that kind of massage therapy.
Yeah, or that it exists even, so they'll refer.
Yeah.
And that physical therapy will actually start doing their job. That's my little sorry.
Yeah.
They won't be so insurance-based and take 6 weeks when they can do it and put a little muscle into it and get it fixed and teach the people that.
Sometimes when you stretch, you hear a crack. What's that?
So sometimes you can stretch, and it depends. It can be muscles, or it can be just the bones releasing. It's kind of like you're giving yourself your own chiropractic adjustment.
So it's normal. I mean,
It's
good.
okay.
It's a good.
It's okay, as long as there's not that pain and it's not like all irritated. You're actually adjusting yourself good. So, I'd like to show you, we're getting close to time, where are we at?
25 minutes.
I'm sorry?
25 minutes left.
Till 2:45?
10 more.
Oh, 10 more minutes.
10 more minutes, okay. So you could choose, I could show you shoulders, or I could show you hips. Or I could show you shoulders, okay. So this is called square shoulders, so everyone knows to like do your little shoulder rolls, right? But what happens, think about this now. This is a square, and you just did a shoulder circle. What's missing?
The edges.
The edges! And what do we know if the edges don't move now? What do you know happens?
They're gonna move.
They aren't gonna move, and what's gonna happen when they're stationary?
They hurt.
Yeah, so first they get stuck, right? And then they hurt. So first they get stuck, so if you don't move these, so we're gonna teach you something called square shoulders. You can do this standing. And this is when you guys just get with people, my therapist, just make sure people are getting this right. Some of you will go, this is way too much effort. But here's my inspiration for you, and especially for me, because if you see my back, I don't know if you can see it, but like, I'm hunchy, right? So if I don't take control of this and really strengthen these muscles back here, I'm right with my 95-year-old client, right? So I have a little bit added incentive, but it goes for everybody. If we don't strengthen our back and stretch our chest, we have no place to go but here, and we're doing this all day anyway. So your 30 seconds on this, or your 15, or whatever you're gonna give it consistently will matter, all right? So you're gonna slowly, move slowly, so you're leading with the muscles. You're not shoving bones. No momentum ever, okay? Muscles all the way up. Got it? All the way up. Pretend there's a square on my shoulder. We're going to the top corner only. All right. Now you're going to come back. Let your arms be nice and loose, and squeeze back here, right between here. You should feel like there's a vice grip. If you don't feel a vice grip, it just means your muscles are weak. Just keep doing it. It'll be a vice grip. Right? You got it? Let your neck go. Let your head kind of go side to side, so it's not part of the grip.
And still hold the grip.
And still hold the grip, yep. And then pretend there's a pencil between your shoulder blades that you cannot let go. So hands out and come all the way down, so you feel that muscle Bring your shoulder blades down your back. Do not come forward. Stay back, and wherever you get stuck, stay there. Got it? Okay, now, if you're still tight up here, that lower trap connects here to here, and this is a muscle that's not strong enough for you. And if this one's weak, muscles balance each other, so it can't help but be tight up here. Okay? So try it again. All the way up, all the way back, and now you're gonna go all the way down, but not coming forward. So if you have to stick your stomach out, do it at first until you feel it. Now you're gonna go sideways, this muscle to this pocket. So you're bringing this shoulder blade, using this muscle right here. Therapists, go check people, don't be doing it yourself. To this pocket, I know it feels good, but I need you making sure. And then leave it there, and then bring the other one down to meet it. Squeeze again and down, like work that, like get that where that is a vice grip to you. So for you,
Yeah, so you keep it out,
out, relax, and then all the way down. Okay, so you see how you're trying to flex, you have that tension, you don't want to drop it. All the way back.
and then without moving your
I
body.
always say like we hold up and we're like, well,
This is like just like
would feel a lot more.
and then this right here is going to your hip without moving your body. So it's kind of cool. It's like you're like so it's like
You guys want to try it?
Yeah.
what direction? So if you go from here, then you pull it down to your hip and like there.
Shoulders all the way up to your ears.
Yeah, you don't go like this, compensate, go back,
Okay,
down,
this example, do you want to see?
and then you can feel it kind of like
Time out for a
pressing down.
second. If you're having trouble accessing that, which she was having trouble, here's another simpler way at first, so you can see her muscle here. She was all up in here and couldn't get down, it kept going like this, and if we have forward posture, that happens. So I just said drop the shoulder, and then squish like that, and then she's gonna work at bringing that down to here. And just do one shoulder at a time at first. And so you can see how her shoulder goes forward, right? So we're gonna have to release the chest and strengthen this, and then she'll be there. Okay? How many of you are in a gym? Just 10 seconds till you feel like you've got it and things like that. Yeah.
Just started a workout last week.
Yeah, so those of you who are in a gym, time out for just a second, please. Those of you who are in a gym, you always bring your shoulder blades down. So if you're doing a pull down, first you bring your shoulder blades down, then you reach out and you're right in the V right away. If you're doing weights, you come down into that area. If you're doing pull down this way, come right into that area with that scapula down first. If you're doing a pull up, first bring your scapula down your back and you'll be doing it properly. And if you can't, don't do the weight. Don't do it wrong, you're gonna injure. At the least, you're gonna build wrong and be stuck. Okay. All right, any other questions? Okay, who else need help? Did you feel like you want to feel it on this?
It doesn't take time to open up like that.
Can we come back? So feel how tight it is. Yeah, and then all the way down.
Every day.
Now we're gonna bring this one
I do it
here.
for 30 seconds. You can't hold it for longer.
And I'm not sure.
And then try to pull it. Don't do it to where
So as it goes like this.
above an 8.
Nice.
Rolling it there. So I want to make sure that you're rolling the pencils out of your back.
You don't have to go up first. You can
And
still
you're going to drop that, so you really have to focus like on holding that. And that's the hard part, right?
Just play with it until you come so down.
Even getting like just gonna bring you up to where you can get to that like more so to that lower back.
Yeah. It takes a lot of like you have to break like
And then try it again a little bit.
back like this.
Take a minute break and then
Down.
try it again.
Kind of drop.
They kind of like really.
It's almost like I'm imagining, like, as soon as I kind of speak, I'm gonna say.
Okay, so we're about out of time. So I'm going to show you a super easy way to do it. That was like, oh my gosh, I can't remember. I don't know what to do.
Can I be the guinea pig?
You could.
Cool.
Right here, Mr. Nicholas, go for it. Okay, so if you first wake up, lay face up. Doesn't matter which way.
Okay.
So if you wake up and you're in pain, and you're not even quite sure if you're safe to move, arms to your side up. And so toes to the nose. So anytime you work with your legs, except when you're this way on your stomach, toes are always to the nose. We turn the legs on. That gets all the muscles going, so every move is efficient. Reach away with your heels really actively, like, yep, now they're even harder, so now every muscle, every connection is on.
Think of
Right?
it as a light bulb. This is the light switch and it turns on all the muscles.
You are hired. Yeah. Incredible. Okay, reach away. Do you see how that was helping where you were sore earlier? Okay, good. Now reach away with one heel only. So this hip's gonna come up and you're gonna reach down away. Now go switch it, switch it. See what happens in here? So now every
What
single
happened?
connection in the
What
pelvis,
happened? I
keep
didn't
going,
see.
go back and forth. We'll show it to you on the film. Every connection, he's connecting with his body. So when he's sitting in school or sitting where you're stuck, he has access to all those muscles now. And he's releasing the fascia at a large level. But toes have to stay to the nose.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
Now, same thing, hands out. Now reach with your shoulder down, leave your head there. And this part of your back is pulling it down in bed. And you're just very slowly luxuriating and feeling your way into your day before you do your full range. Okay, got it. Same thing with the neck. And this is just a hint, and then we gotta leave so that they can get in here. What time are we at? Is you push with the neck muscle, not your head when you do stuff to release here, because you gotta get deep in here releasing. And that's why so many people have really stuck, really hard necks. 1 minute left. Okay, I've got 1 minute for questions. Thank you. So we're gonna Bonnie Pruden, just so you know, my mentor, she was like the female Jack LaLanne. She's since passed on in her 90s, but she had a passion for our kids. And she went to Kennedy and Eisenhower and said, our kids are hurting and they're weak compared to all kids around the world. So she got fitness into my generation's schools. We've lost it now. But she's going to teach the kids because then they'll always be good. Go ahead. What was the question? I saw the hand.
So we just did the shoulder exercises.
Square shoulder.
Here.
Yeah.
Is there a reason why when I do it on one side I'm tighter than on the other?
There certainly is.
Does that help with that?
Yeah, totally, because
Okay.
I think if you can release any muscle and any fascia anywhere, you get that back. I could never do that before on one side because of my scoliosis, but I just kept releasing it. And I did that.
One side is definitely tighter, so if this side is tighter, which shoulder is
So
tighter?
since you know fascia tightens down around every day, if you do this every day, you'll notice it happening every time.
So on this side, where's the tightness at?
Okay, right in here.
So it's there?
Yep.
And if I do the other side, it'd be over here, right?
You see? You're actually really open here. That's all good. You're good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's here.
Yeah, yeah. And that's a muscle, a rotator cuff muscle. Stuck on there. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you guys.